So we've covered Pinks and that one painter, and then the last one is Garage Up, which actually Caleb and I we both worked for a concept called Garage Force, so we're
Uh-huh.
very schooled on the garage space, and this
Awesome.
this intrigued us because most of the other franchises out there, it is owner operator. Most of the operator owners are actually laying floor. They're
Yep.
doing the manual labor plus the sales. So it's not necessarily a bad model, but a lot of people that we talk to, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to
Mhm.
get on my knees and I don't want to grind the floor and I just don't want to do that. I want to talk to customers maybe, or I want to network or more B2B, get more into commercial stuff. Because in that space, people don't realize how much you can get into commercial, just concrete coating wise. I know
Yep.
with Garage Up, you're definitely have doors, overhead doors, like there's a whole market there. So I
Yep.
like that when you were telling us earlier because it's multiple businesses in one,
Yep.
but you have a model where you can run it where you don't have to hire those teams. You can just basically subbing those jobs out. And I'll let
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
in detail.
And Amy, I'll just add to that. I think one of the things that, I've come away impressed on the garage upside is, which upside that I did not mean to do that, but with garage up, I guess their upside is the garage doors. Because
Yeah.
one of the places that I've lived throughout, I lived in Idaho for a little bit when I was doing the franchise out there. I've lived in Nebraska. I've lived in Minnesota. Like I've lived in a multitude of states.
Yeah.
And one of the things I find, it is so hard to find somebody that can help replace the garage door. And it is so difficult. And I've talked to my sister was trying to have one done a couple years ago here in Omaha, and they couldn't find anybody. Mike, her husband, had to go figure it out at Menards and wasn't sure if he was getting the right thing. Like was completely confused through the entire process. And so, yes, the garage coatings is great, but the garage door replacement side is intriguing to me because there isn't a lot out
I love that you call that out of the garage door side. It's a huge industry that is kind of untapped into. And so what we did at Garage Up is we took three fragmented industries and put them into one. So how we go to market is doors, floors, and more. So exactly to your point, Caleb, of having the garage door side in the mix makes us unique because floors and your more, which is the organization, shelving, slat wall, all of those things are really nice to have. I will say Garage Up is the brand that I talk to the most people that are actually truly excited about Garage Up because they can see it on their own home and on their friend's home and their neighbor's home and all of those things. So it's fun to see that excitement coming in. But those services are more of a want to have your garage floor redone or have shelving put up. But a need is when your garage door doesn't open or your garage door doesn't close. And so to have that in combination, because there aren't really any garage door companies that I know of out there that are then cross selling when they're talking to that homeowner to say, hey, I couldn't help but notice your golf clubs are kind of shoved away in the corner. Would you want those to be then, hung nicely using this slat wall and all these things? And the cool thing about the garage is, and you guys may have realized this in your past roles, but it lends itself to so many different hobbies. So that's what I love about Garage Up is that people can get into all these different kind of groups and go to all these different networking events and trade shows and gather customers. And also, Caleb, as you mentioned, having moved multiple times, I'm sure you noticed that everywhere you went had garage doors. So it's a pretty common thing that there are garage doors. Some houses don't have them, but for the most part, it's pretty consistent. And so with Garage Up, we focus on, as mentioned, the floors, the doors, and then the full renovation is everything except electrical, plumbing, and tear down. So we're not getting into the red tape of those industries. There's licensings and things that need to happen there. So we will do lighting, but it's a cool like plug-in light that we'll do. We will paint the garage. We will do the floors. We will do the shelving, the organization side. You can move things out, move them back in. That's a service. So there's a lot that can be done. And it's not just the residential side, it's the commercial side as well. And so I'm happy that you were mentioning those roll-up doors and then in combination, not having people there to service it. We actually now have a national account with Jiffy Lube, which we have a team at Resi that is finding these new national accounts. So we're consistent or constantly securing new partnerships as we grow. But with the Jiffy Lube one, for example, one of our franchise owners, once he finally got connected with the Jiffy Lube in his area, they were like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for reaching out, because we've had things stolen from the bay several times within the past couple of days because no one has been able to come out and service our garage door." So having that side of it is really helpful. And on the commercial side, we mostly do the doors and the floors. So you can win a really big epoxy floor or polyaspartic floor kind of job with a large commercial, warehouse or showroom or whatnot. And so we have a lot of fun things happening. The word I find myself using with Garage Up is opportunity. I think there's so much opportunity out there. And so we're pretty excited about that brand. And yeah. Oh, the initial investment, I keep forgetting. So the estimated initial investment for one territory for Garage Up is the same as that one Painter. It's 113 to 142. So that is also a subcontractor model. We do have ways as well with Garage Up of finding subcontractors. That is typically one of the biggest concerns, as you were mentioning earlier, Dan, just labor in general. But I won't go too much into detail. I don't want to give too much away as far as how we find them and what to look for and all of that. But we found it to be really successful, the subcontractor model for that one Painter. And we were seeing a lot of overlap. And so we then brought that into the Garage Up model, and it's been going really well.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, in Nebraska, garages are a big deal. Especially now that everybody's working from home. I mean, ever since I lived out western Nebraska, came east, Lincoln, everybody's partying in there, going back to football. Like there's football tailgates in everybody's garages.
Yep.
People are hanging out in there all the time. There's always 5 or 6 TVs. They deck it out. So it's an investment part of the home. And I think it's getting even more popular because everybody's working at home and they're trying to get that extra room almost in their house, another area where they can enjoy. And having a coated floor, like I haven't actually had it done yet, but Caleb had it done. And every time I've seen it, it's crazy how it transforms just kind of a dirty garage you don't think about to another room where you feel okay with your kids, your toddlers, like playing on the floor because it's so easily cleaned and it looks clean and neat. And having the storage and just little things really make it, a completely different space. So it's really cool.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting. Like, so Dan, like with you saying that. So Amy, we moved a year ago in July. So been this house for almost a year. And when we moved, I had the garage door coated. I had a 2-car garage, and we were out there all the time. Like we never were in the garage. And then we had it coated, and my kids were out there. I hooked up a TV. That's kind of what
that's awesome.
Well, we got moved in, and my wife is looking at the floor in our garage. She goes, "This needs to be coated." Like from her, because she knew how clean it looked. Kids go out there and play. It wasn't even for me. And so like I can see the side of like, because people get worried in garage coating because they're always like, well, there's no recurring revenue. I'm like, actually there is. Like people move, the average individual moves every 5 to 7 years. And once they've had it done, they're going to want it again.
Yep.
So I've seen that. And then like the garage door, going back to my moving thing. So right when we sold the home, sold it, signed off on it, we're getting ready to move. Our garage door doesn't work at our old house. And we felt terrible. We're like, we can't have this family move in and the garage door not work. And so I was calling people. Amy, it took me 2 or 3 weeks to get somebody to come, and we were moving out, and I didn't want to leave these guys with a faulty garage. And it took 2 or 3 weeks before somebody got back to us. So I've seen both aspects of it. And so anyway, that's, I can see the value in this business for sure.
Yeah.
One of the things that I appreciate, I was looking at yesterday, kind of in prep for today's call, I was looking at your guys' websites, Paint Garage Up. Abby, my wife, walks in, she goes, "Ooh, that's pretty." Like she likes the branding.
I love it.
Yeah.
The profile. And I think if you everyone always looks at it like, oh, yeah, they make it look cool, but I'm like, that's half the battle. If you can make your concept look really appealing,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, somebody's going to just go to you because you look really good. Like the pinks is cool, the garage up, I love the green.
Yeah.
And so and typically, in a household, a woman makes a lot of the decisions in the
Yep.
house. So if it melts well with her, most likely it's an easier transition to say, hey, let's go ahead and do this.
Absolutely. It's all about, back to the point of the Pinks uniforms, it's about trust. And to your point, from the branding, from the logo, from the way you interact with the customer, from the service that's actually done, all of it is making the homeowner or the project manager feel a certain type of way when they're interacting with you. And so that's why people, spend so much money on coffee every day, myself included over here, because you like the experience, you like how it makes you feel. One last thing I was going to say on Garage Up is what's cool too is that the garage of a custom build $3 million home is typically the same as the garage. Maybe it's a little bigger, but it's typically the same as a 30-year-old $100,000 home. It's unfinished. It's, concrete floors, plain walls. There's nothing special about it. So talking of the reoccurring side, if you can get connected as a referral partner with a custom home builder or someone that is involved in that space, that could be, it's reoccurring in a different way, but they're constantly feeding you business. And that's something we drive home for all of our brands, really, is the referrals. So,
and I know that the concrete coating guys love brand new concrete. It's way easier. There's no crack filling. There's no.
yeah.
So getting in with a builder, yeah, they love those. It's just they go 3 times faster on those, and they look great. So yeah, those are good numbers.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to end the call with trying to figure out when the last time Nebraska beat VTech in a football game, but I couldn't. I was searching and I didn't want to be rude. Caleb might know.
No, the last time, dude, I remember the last time we played Virginia Tech was when they had Vic, or was it Tyrod Taylor? Who was the
Tyrod?
Was it
Tyrod? Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, because it wasn't Vic's younger. Because did Michael Vick have a younger brother that went there, and then Tyrod? Because it was the year 2 that it was Ndamukong Suh. Dan, it was like 09, 2010.
Well, I was Googling it. It says 2009, but we would have played VTech since then, right?
Well, maybe you just haven't beat us.
That's been the last time, dude. I'm telling you that it's probably been 15 years, dude, and we got beat.
Well, in 1 point, it says 16-15.
Yeah, and then they beat us back-to-back years, I think. So
superior, I guess.
I'll definitely edit that off. We're editing that off the video.
Dan said I could ask you a random question. He actually.
Oh no.
So I'm going to put you on the spot.
But just real quick, I have 4 minutes and I have to jump because I have a call. So if
I do too, but I got to ask this.
I'll be quick.
It's weird. I'm going to make it like brand related, and it's going to be super simple. What's your favorite brand at Resi Brands?
Oh.
What's my favorite brand? I will say, I just moved to Charleston and I would like to open a Pinks here. I think that it would be perfect. I love the Pinks brand, but I love all of our brands equally. But that would be my answer for you there.
I love you guys' retro 50s vibe because that's like back when there were milkmen.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's actually Caleb's dad was the milkman.
There you go.
Stupid.
I love it. Great way to end it off.